Happy Friday. And happy early birthday, Linda. Oh, Linda Wilson. Good times. I hope you enjoy this one. And I hope this makes your birthday celebration extra long and extra special. So, before we get to that, let's talk about our work set. Plank to down dog for 3. Floor pike hold, 20 to 30 seconds. Yes, we're going back upside down a little bit today to kind of weight those shoulders up a little bit. Then you're going to do a plank to bear squat for 3, or plank to down dog again, depending on how comfortable you are with the bear squat. Then you're going to finish off with some swimmer stretch, so 3 to 5 reps. So we'll talk about that variation of the swimmer stretch, working on that good kind of prone position. It's a good time. It's a challenge. But we'll get that body warmed up real quick in that first 1 to 2 rounds. After that, we got some dumbbell work. We got a dumbbell deadlift for 3, dumbbell hang power clean for 3, dumbbell front squat for 3, and a dumbbell squat thrust devil's press. So that's a lot to say, but we're just not doing the burpee portion. We're going to do that squat thrust variation. So we'll walk you through that. We'll have some fun with that. You do 3 per side. In that time frame, we're just going to take some time to figure out some working loads for both the clean and the squat thrust devil's press. If you are using a barbell for the clean, all right, that's totally fine. If you want to figure out a load that you can hit some relatively higher volumes with, probably a good quick 5 and 5 or 10 straight, depending on what you're comfortable with in terms of load. Now, hitting this bottom piece, you're going to take anywhere from 2 to 3 rounds, maybe even 4 to 5, depending on what you need to do for warm-up and get your weights choice. But the workout today, oh, she's a doozy. We got 3 rounds. We got a squat thrust devil's press for 8 alternating reps. So you'll do a single arm variation, 8 total count. Then you'll move into 50 air squats. So no load, 50 air squats, and then 10 hang power cleans. Whatever load you have decided to do with the dumbbell or the barbell, that's up to you and whatever you have access to. This isn't meant to be a heavy clean, it's meant to be challenging, but you might have to break it down into 2 sets, but it shouldn't have to get broken down into more than 2 sets, okay? And we got 3 rounds of that for time and quality. So it's gonna be a great day today. So let's warm you up, let's get you ready, and let's celebrate this early birthday celebration for Linda. All right, let's start off our day with our feet under those hips. We're just gonna take the arms big and tall overhead. I'm gonna give it a nice little side reach, nice little side bend. Big stretch to the other side. Oh, nice reach. We'll take it all the way down to the floor, just touching those toes. We're gonna walk up those shins, nice flat back. We'll come down, frame the foot, step it back into your lizard. We're gonna lower that back knee. We're just gonna press that hip and then open up with the outside hand, nice and gentle. We'll come back down, press that hip, come through, opening up to that first sensation. Coming back down, one more time, press, and then open up to the side, and then lower that hand back down. Gripping the floor, we'll straighten out the leg. We'll step back into our down dog as we reach those hips. We'll walk those heels out, nice and slow. We'll come back into our plank, step the other foot up, into that nice lizard. We'll lower the knee, press the hip, come through, outside hand, and lower it down, press the hip, come back through, outside hand, plant that one, come back down with the hip, come through, outside hand, come back down, and straighten that leg. Step her back into that down dog. Reaching those hips high, let's walk the heels out a bit. A little bit of jumping yesterday as we want those heels nice and woke. Those ankles nice and ready. Those calves also at the ready. Back into plank, tiptoe those feet up. We'll roll ourselves all the way up. Big stretch. Little reach to one side. Little reach to the other side. And come back down. Let's get you guys rocking. Now, if there's any extra movement you need to take down, maybe you see some things in your near future, you're like, hips a little tight, you gotta show some extra love there. Please take that time to do so. Pause the video, rock that. Come back to me, we're gonna start warming up our shoulders and get that core ready to go. All right, we're gonna kickstart off our day with a plank to down dog. So we're gonna get ourselves set up in that nice, solid plank position. So my hands are just outside the shoulders. I'm gonna press the floor away, pulling those ribs in. I'm gonna pull the hips back, continuing to press into the floor as I I pull back into that down dog. Now from here, I'm going to come back into that plank, continuing to press through the floor as I find that good plank position. So as we're going through this movement set, we really want to make sure that we're active through that upper back and shoulder as we take our body through that full range into the down dog and then back into the plank. Now before we move back into the down dog, make sure we set those shoulders again to get that good positioning. Once we're done that kind of flow back and forth, we're going to work on our floor pike hold. So we're going to work on that handstand variation. So my feet are going to come together, my knees will come together from my tabletop. My hands are going to be under my shoulders. I'm going to push the shoulders to the sky, pull the ribs in. I'm going to lift those hips straight up as I push the floor away. I can tiptoe my feet a little closer if I need to, but my goal is to keep that engagement through those arms, pressing through the floor, pulling those ribs in, and keeping those shoulders stacked over the hands as best we can. So we're not going backwards like we do in a down dog, we're pushing forward into those shoulders, into those hands. So try and stay as stacked as we can, and if you feel yourself disengage in the shoulder, the core, come out of it, cat-cow it, maybe move back in, accumulate more time there, or take the hold that you got in that one single hold. Now our next variation is still going to be from that plank into that kind of back position for the shoulder. We have our bear squat. Now if you're not comfortable with the bear squat, we can continue doing more down dogs in this position as we send the hips high in the down dog. But if you're doing the bear squat, we're going to send the hips low. We're going to send those hips back to our heels. So we're going to establish that good plank position again. Hands are just outside the shoulders, but this time my feet are going to be a little bit apart, so hip to squat stance. I'm still pushing my shoulders away from the floor. I'm going to pull my hips back towards my ankles, and I'm going to push back straight ahead into my plank. I'm going to pull back into that nice solid position, push back into that plank. So again, like our down dog, I'm still pushing downwards towards the floor and into the floor to get that good solid shoulder position to stabilize my body as I flow straight back and come forward. Again, like the down dog, plank to down dog, we want to make sure that that shoulder is set and ready before we move into that next rep. So it's always better to take that extra moment before we move into the next rep to check the shoulder position. Our last exercise in this list is on our stomach. It's our swimmer stretch. And these are challenging, so I want you guys to take your time moving through these. They're not meant to be fast. So on my stomach, I get set up with my arms outstretched to the front. I'm going to press my toes together and down as I pull my ribs in. I'm going to press my armpits down and find that good engagement. From here, I'm going to lift my arms up. I'm going to take my arms around, palms rotating up, and then I'm going to maintain that tension as I bring one hand to the low back, come back up, other hand to the low back, and up, and then come back around, and rest, and repeat. So we're looking at maintaining that good hollow position as I pull my hands around, my palms rotate facing up. I'm maintaining that hollow as I pull a hand to the low back. And you come back, pull, come back, and around. Now, if you're comfortable with this and you have the range, you can actually do both arms at the same time. Back out and around. Or you can work on the single. The single is a little bit easier. It's not as much stress on the chest and the shoulders, but if you'd like to, you can do both arms at the same time instead of singles. Time under tension, very high into this one. So focus on those positions to the core, just like we do when we do our prone shoulder raise, floor facing angels. That is important. We don't want to lose that as we start to bring those hands behind into the low back. As a quick recap, we have a plank to down dog for 3, floor pike hold for 20 to 30 seconds, plank to bear squat for 3, and a swimmer stretch of 3 to 5 reps per side if you're doing the singles. All right, so remember we're doing that kind of one, then the other, come back around. Don't forget about getting both arms involved. 1 to 2 rounds of that. We'll take it down, we'll have some fun. It's gonna be a nice little shoulder burner, a little core set before we start playing around with some dumbbells. So pause it, rock that piece, get things ready. We'll come back at you with some good, hearty dumbbell work. All right, we got a little dumbbell complex coming at you for this one. We're gonna kickstart off with some deadlifts, into some hang power cleans, into some front squats, and that's gonna cover your bases for everything that's coming at you in our workout. After that, we're gonna review the dumbbell squat thrust devil's press. So it's gonna be a little bit to take in. We've done them in the past, but we're gonna really focus in on that straight arm squat thrust today. But before we get to that, let's talk about our deadlift. You can do this again with a barbell. You can do this with dumbbells if you'd like, depending. But if I'm gonna do a sumo style deadlift to kind of start my set off, I'm gonna set myself up nice and tall. I'm gonna draw my hips back so my hand comes above my knee. I'm gonna lower down to the dumbbell. So my deadlift position will be a little lower than a conventional deadlift because the dumbbell is lower down. I'm gonna push through the feet, standing tall and upright, opening my hips and knees. For my next reps, I can choose to take it all the way to the floor or wherever I feel comfortable below the shin or below the knee. We want to make sure that we're focusing primarily on our back position, not necessarily the dumbbell touching to the floor. So we want to make sure that back position is our primary focus, along with the weight in the feet, so that we're staying midfoot and very balanced, not falling forward onto the toes. Now, once I've done my 3 deads, what I'm going to focus on is my hang power clean. And I can take this dumbbell to the outside in a more conventional style. I can also take it to between the knees to that hang position. Either one is fine. It doesn't change the mechanics of that hinge or the leg drive. So that's the same. Now from here, we take the body back slightly as the dumbbell comes to the knee. I'm going to push through those legs to get speed. Pull underneath that dumbbell into that little squat, come back down with the dumbbell, and repeat. So I find that good back position, I push through those legs, I pull into that little squat, stand tall. And it's base kind of thought process. I get set at the knee, I jump, land in that little power position, and set. Once I've done my 3, I'm going to fix my feet in my squat stance if they're not already there. The back of the dumbbell is going to rest on my shoulder and my front rack. I'm going to push into my arms slightly to keep that body upright. I'm going to pull those hips towards the heels. Those knees are going to track your toes. I'm going to push those legs to stand tall, opening those hips and knees. So I'm trying to take it as deep as I can maintain my position and focus on that good engagement through that body. Now, if you're using a single dumbbell, you'll do 3-3-3 one side. Flip sides, 3-3-3 on the other side. If you're using a barbell, we'll just do 3-3-3. Or if you're using 2 dumbbells, you just go through it one time and take it from there. This is a great little skill set to get you ready for both the squat thrust devil's press and our hang power clean. It's also going to get those legs ready for our air squatting later on in the work set. So take your time, work on those key positions. If you want to add a tempo into the squat, please be my guest. Now, after that little complex of the deadlift, hang power clean, front squat, we're going to come into the squat thrust devil's press. What that looks like as is, I will show you right now. I can do one of 2 things. I can put my hand on the dumbbell and use it like a parallel. So I come down, one hand on the floor, one hand on the dumbbell. I'll step or jump into my plank. I'll jump or step up. I'm going to pull myself into a good deadlift position, letting that dumbbell swing back, and I'm going to pull it overhead, keeping the dumbbell overhead, nice and close to the body. I'll come down, I'm going to switch my hands, I'll good deadlift it down, put my hand on the floor and the dumbbell, jump or step. As I pull into my deadlift position, I'll let the dumbbell swing back, and I'll snatch it overhead. And then I'll come back down and switch sides. The main thing we want to make sure we're doing is setting that back position as we jump in from our from our squat thrust, to make sure our hips and back are in a very strong position. That really nice deadlift position. Not rounded out in the bottom, and then ripping a dumbbell off the floor. So snapping that into position so we can deliver a really good leg drive to get the dumbbell moving. Now if you're not comfortable with your hand on the dumbbell when you go into the squat thrust, what you can do, like our renegade rows, is put the dumbbell in between. I come down, hands on either side, step or jump into my squat thrust, step or jump, take hold of the dumbbell as I snap into my deadlift, and then pull into that nice snatch overhead, and then I'll switch hands, put it down on the floor, hands, step or jump, other hand comes in, swing it up, and then come back down, switch, good deadlift. So we want to make sure that we're deadlifting the dumbbell well on the way down to the floor and as we set up to do the drive. Now it's kind of a combination of a swing dumbbell snatch. We don't want the dumbbell to wing out way in front, but we want to use that momentum of pulling into this down position to allow a little bit of swing action to let that dumbbell start to get some speed on it, okay? Now if you're not comfortable with that little swing, you can set up and then snatch it from the floor. If you'd like to, very, very similar motion. You're just not getting that little bit of momentum from the motion, okay? So play with it, have fun. Key focus there, back position, back position, back position, all right? So have some fun with that little complex. As a recap, we have a dumbbell deadlift for 3, dumbbell hang power clean for 3, dumbbell front squat for 3, dumbbell squat thrust devil's press for 3 per side. All right, you can alternate or do all 3 on one side, all 3 on the other side, and then you can hit that up with the focus of finding your working weight. Now that devil's press may be a little lighter than your hang power clean, and that's okay. You can have 2 separate loads for it, or like I said earlier, if you're gonna use a barbell for the hang power clean, that's fine, and a dumbbell for that devil's press. So play with it, mix and match your equipment, make sure you're happy with what you got for loading, and then we'll tackle this 3-rounder, which doesn't take too long, but it definitely packs a punch. So pause the video, take it down. We're gonna talk about our work set. All right, you guys, we've made it to the workout. We've got 3 rounds of work. We're gonna do a single arm squat thrust devil's press for 8 alternating reps. Then you're gonna move into 50 air squats and 10 hang power cleans with a dumbbell or a barbell. We've covered the squat thrust devil's press pretty heavily in the previous warm-up, so if you need points of performance, scroll back, check those out. We've also covered that hang power clean pretty heavily, so if you need some stuff there, scroll back, check that out in that complex piece. But when it comes to the air squat, we did some front squats in our warm-up. The air squat is no different in terms of mechanics. The only difference is we don't have a load helping us stay upright. So we really have to fight for good position with these air squats. My feet are going to be hip to shoulder width, depending on the individual. I'm going to stand up nice and tall. My weight is going to try and stay right in those laces, so right in that mid-foot portion, keeping those big toes down. And as I keep my weight there, I'm going to draw those hips towards my heels, keeping those feet nice and flat, and stand. I'm going to try and stay as upright as I can, trying to make those knees track those toes as best I can as well. So it's the exact same squat focus as our front squat, we just don't have the assistance of that load. So we have 50 reps, that's a lot of squats, so take your time with those, settle into a pace that you can just keep moving forward with them so you don't gas out too fast. Moving into that hang power clean, those squats are going to say hello, but luckily enough, you're not going into a full squat clean, so you can land in that power position, but you're definitely going to feel those squats in the receiving of the dumbbells or bar, and or in that extension, so that leg drive might be a little bit more labor than it would be if you were fresh. I hope you have fun with this workout, you guys. It's not too long, it's pretty quick. It's a good time though, there's lots of work in there, and I hope you guys get a nice response from it. Linda, you're a super special individual in our community. I hope you have a fantastic early birthday celebration today, and we're gonna extend that birthday all weekend long for you, and I hope you enjoy it. So until tomorrow, you guys, let's have some fun, let's work for quality, and we'll see you for some more fun very, very soon. Bye, you guys.